Hello, great people. Welcome back to Global Happenings. Today, we're so excited to have you again. Hans Ndibo has taken very drastic move, and they are carrying the presidency along to ensure that Simon Ekpa is put under the grip of the federal government. Now, you're going to see the next move they're going to take to tackle the situation here in Nigeria and also to look out for a way to capture Simon Ekpa. Now, don't forget that Simon Ekpa, in pursuance of the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, had instructed that there should be another 2 weeks of sit at home. But what he did was, when it gets to Saturday, there will be a break, and then on Monday they resume again. But the latest update is that he told all the oil companies operating in the southeast region that they must not be operational during these 2 weeks sit at home. I think that's one of the reasons why Johannes Ndibo cannot hold back again. They are making strong demands on the presidency, though Tinubu has not responded yet. And according to the information we have, Johannes Ndibo Social-Cultural Organization called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to deploy more soldiers to the southeast region, stressing that Finland-based agitator Simon Ekpa has declared a second Biafra war. It has gathered that the organization, in a statement by its Secretary General Okechukwu Iziuzor, also slammed a $500,000 bounty on Ekpa. According to Haneze, President Tinubu should help the region by deploying soldiers to every corner of the southeast. And these were the words of Iziuzora. He said, "We are telling Tinubu that the second Biafra war has begun, and he should deploy soldiers to all the nooks and crannies of the southeast. The southeast governors need help, and Ohanaeze is asking the Southeast governors to defend themselves from external enemies. At this point in time, we can't follow somebody in faraway Finland to detect the pace. The government of Ebonyi State and the Southeast must ensure that the terrorist activities of Igba are solved in his homeland. What we are saying is that Ekpa has declared a second civil war in the southeast, and anybody with useful information will be given $500,000. This is a self-help to ensure that our people get a secure environment. The southeast governors appear to be weak, and they are using the wrong approach in dealing with Ekpa. Our suspicion has been confirmed that what Ekpa is doing is to destroy the economy of the Southeast." This is quite serious, I must say. And one of the things I want to talk about is this issue of putting a bounty of 500,000 naira. I think it's a suggestion to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And if such a suggestion come out that anyone who produces Simon Ekpa will be given $500,000, I think that it will be answered speedily. $500,000 is not small money. I'm telling you, it's not my mind. That one can open shop in China, in US, in so many places. I'm telling you the truth. So if you by mistake, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they open his mouth and say, "Bring me that man and get your $500,000." Boys will jump into action. Seriously, I'm not joking. You will see people making calls, calling Finland everywhere. Before you know, some will video him as he's going everywhere, and they'll carry him like this and enter Nigeria jejely and just take credit my account, and I'll drop him with a parachute into Southeast itself. I'm telling you, because when I hit that word, 500,000 naira, say, hey, some people already, if you make such a statement, you know how many boys out there who are looking for 500,000 naira to expand their business? Giving you 500,000 naira, importation don't start to straight from China, Japan, everywhere. Boys don't open online businesses everywhere. Your life has changed completely. $500,000 is not small money, you know. Now, on that, that was on a lighter note, but I think that these issues can be fixed in a better way. I could still remember that IPOB had sent a message to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that the only way to squash this issue of, you know, trouble and wars in the southeast is for them to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But then, who will be held responsible if after releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the problem continues? I think that's the fears of the government. And I feel that why Simon Ekpa still have the support of many people to continue with what he is doing is number one, the just concluded election. For many people, there was no fairness in the just concluded election. And that's why people are eagerly waiting for what will happen after the tribunal. Apart from that, there another issue of concern is the fact that the court has released Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They said he doesn't have a case. They even came up to telling Nigerians that whatever that has sufficed, the way with which he was brought into Nigeria was outrightly wrong. Now, these are some of the reasons why this thing, Simon Ekpa, is still able to garner so much support, because already the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is over in the court. Ordinarily, they should just release him. You understand? But unfortunately, the Attorney General of the Federation went back again and demanded that he should be held back. And before we know the case, I think the case was already to appeal court, or I think apart from appeal court, maybe Supreme Court also. But the truth is that the court itself had released him. So if they had released him and the people sit back to watch and notice that they have refused to let him go, despite the fact that the court has released him, automatically you're going to see continuous fight, people raging and all of that. I feel that we have to look at these things from different perspectives. First of all, what was the concern of the federal government as it has to do with this? Okay, if they have released him, expedite. If the federal government say hold him back until the case in appeal is concluded, okay, let's fast track the case in appeal court so that they can now know the bottom line of why he is still under the custody of DSS. But without that, they see him as a free man, which the government have refused to make him a free man. And that is why Simon Ekpa is having a lot of support the way he's having. Because everything he's going to say out there makes a great deal of sense to all and sundry who are listening to him. Secondly, we are looking at the just concluded presidential election. Bola Ahmed Tinubu was declared by INEC as the president. But most people look at it as another move towards cheating the Ndibos. And the facts have been presented. Thus far, with what we have said, I can't draw conclusions because it's wrong. The case is in court, and no one is allowed to give verdicts apart from, the tribunal. But already there are pointers to the fact that this is the main person who should have the power would have gone to, based on what we saw. All of that put together, for those who are already getting tired of, their stay here, most of them believe that, man, if this is not working out, whatever thing these guys want to do, let them continue doing it. And just like Peter Obi had rightly said, there are different ways these kind of things can be solved. For example, the federal government should ensure that no single individual in the Southeast, especially young people, should be allowed to live without a job. They should engage these guys, give them jobs. Come on, whether we like it or not, Igbos are hardworking people. You cannot set up a port in southeast, maybe in Onitsha, and you will see anybody running after fighting war or doing sit at home that we are hearing. Set up a port right now in Onitsha. See how boys will leave their nooks and crannies to start running their business. Before you know, Southeast will start bubbling. If you go to Southeast and it's quiet because it seems nothing good is really happening there. You understand? The federal government, if they look at take all of this into consideration, it will help a great deal. Releasing more soldiers in there for me is not a good suggestion because these guys also are citizens and there are some good guys there. Now we saw what happened in Delta State where a particular family lost two children, little children, because of the activities of NDLEA. They went in there, they shoot sporadically, and before we know, people who were not guilty, people who were not involved in the case, they were now the people crying. And this is as a result of using firearms in a place that should ordinarily, they shouldn't use firearms. I feel that even the LA people went in there to, map those guys and all, they would have been a better way to strategize, and they walk in and capture those guys than to shoot in an environment that you know that there are many families, unguilty families living there. So that's the same thing that will happen in the Southeast. By the time you send in militaries there, people who have little or nothing to do with the whole issue of sit at home, some of them will be the worst hit. Wisdom is profitable to direct. That's what I like to leave.